GMLB family, what happened? What happened in the NBA over this weekend? Luka is a Laker. De'Aaron Fox is a Spur. Our fellow Bulls fans on this podcast, Victor, Kevin, Daniel, Zach LaVine is a King. Trey Jones is a
Ew.
Bull.
Ew.
uh, there's no intro on this one. An emergency meeting, an emergency pod has been completed. We gotta get our thoughts out here. My name is Mike Miles. I've already introduced my co-hosts Victor, Daniel, and Kevin. Fellas, how are we doing after arguably the biggest trade in not only NBA history but sports history go- going down over this last weekend?
I mean, it's not real, right? Like we had this talk on the phone the other day. Like it's not real. It's getting vetoed, surely. Like I was just for once I was in bed early on Saturday, just chilling. I was like watching whatever I fell down whatever YouTube rabbit hole I did that night. Literally in bed, about to turn my phone off, and then I got the I got the mic bomb. Texted our group chat saying that Luka's a Laker. You did the same thing a week prior, saying I think like Fox is wherever, but it was just a prediction.
Mhm.
Had me
Yeah.
looking on Instagram for like 10 minutes. I was like, this dude's tweaking. But no, you were right about this one. And I looked at it, and the first source I saw is Luka is a Laker. And then for the next 3 minutes, I was just refreshing until the other details were there. It took way too long. Well, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's not real.
Yeah, I'm still recovering, dude, because I don't feel like it's real. I think the whole NBA world is shocked. The whole world seems blown away from this and stunned, Luca even. And honestly, it's crazy because Shams took over this NBA season for Woj's spot, and he already has a bigger Woj bomb than Woj ever did.
I was
Dude,
gonna say, is this bigger than the KD to the Warriors like free agency signing? Like what has more magnitude?
I would probably say this because it was like you never see an in-season trade this big. I
mm,
Yeah.
mean, this wasn't a trade. This was a drug deal.
I saw someone.
It's just absurd. Like KD going to the Warriors, like that was his choice. Fully free agent signing, unrestricted free agent. Nothing stopping him. There's nothing stopping Nico Harrison either. Christ
I
on a
just
bike.
I it's just unfathomable. Like I think this is one of those moments where like for the rest of your life you're gonna know where you were when this happened. I'm not gonna go out here and like compare it to 9/11, but this is like the 9/11 of sports right here.
It,
What we witnessed this weekend.
can can I say that I'm glad you brought that up because was working and I work in a bar like to basically just hold the peace, make sure no one's fighting, make sure no one's being belligerent. And I think it was around like 9:45, close to 10 when the news broke. When that news broke, the place almost like exploded. I got worried because I saw like six groups of grown men yelling in each other's faces and doing this and like basically like I thought like a lot of them were gonna get into a fight. No, I turn my head and see ESPN breaking news and I see the breakdown of the trades and I just think it's so funny that the picture of Luka in a Lakers uniform came out on Bleacher Report before it came out on like Lakers Center or any of those like Lakers like fan pages. Like, how does the official picture of Luka in a Lakers jersey happen before the rumors of it? Like Kevin said, this is a drug deal. This was not, this was so unexpected. This was so like out of the blue. Definitely will remember it for a while.
It's just crazy how like as more time goes on, we find out more details of the trade. And the only person that was involved in this was Nico Harrison. Nobody else. Jason Kidd didn't know. the majority owner of the Mavericks, who nobody knows his name, doesn't know. Mark Cuban didn't know. Like, it was just like, we're not giving up AD. And then the Mavericks were like, what about Luka Doncic? And it's like, well, and they were the only team that had access to the Luka sweepstakes too. Like, Miles, I said this to you yesterday. Like, if the Lakers get like a even like a borderline all-star center by Thursday, February 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern, an investigation has to go on.
I just like, how was this not vetoed? Like we vetoed Chris Paul to the Lakers, but we can't veto Luka Doncic to the Lakers. Like bro, are we? I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like Luka can retire in the GOAT debate. I almost feel like he can be in that echelon with LeBron, with Jordan, with Kobe by the time he's done. And he's playing with LeBron James. This is like the multiverse of NBA free like trades. Like I don't it's just I cannot even put this into words how like insane this is. This has to be is there a bigger move in sports like period? I
So
can't think of a bigger move in
I
sports.
so I was listening to Zach Lowe, and he mentioned on his Twitter like video that he made, it was about him like coming back and he had to break or like react to this news. And he was saying in his 47 years of living, the two biggest things that has happened in sports that he could remember was Michael Jordan retiring for the first time and Mike Tyson losing. And this was up there with that. So those three things have been the biggest things that he said. It just goes to
It's
show you how
just
crazy this trade was, man. Honestly, I'm glad it was like I felt like it was crazy, but I was out with some friends when this happened, and he's not really that big into basketball anymore. So when I was like freaking out over this, he's like, "What are you freaking out about? Who cares?" I was like, "Are you serious? Like this is an insane trade. You don't just give up a 25-year-old superstar who's a top 3 player in the world for what they got. It's just unbelievable."
Top three superstar, just led him to the finals, gets 40-point triple doubles. He's gotten a 60-point triple double, had 71 last year. He's 25. I mean, it goes on. Like, you kind of cut it short there a little bit.
Yeah.
he also just closed on a $15 million house in Dallas. If you want any confirmation that no one had any idea this was coming.
All right. RIP Bozo.
I did
It's funny
see.
because Chandler Parsons did leak some of that info. Like on, I think he was on like Sports Center today or something, having like an interview. I mean, the fact that this dude's like, I didn't even know he was still like involved in NBA, I guess. Well, it was the Mavericks who gave him that big contract, I think. Anyways, like he was just spilling the tea, like, yeah, Luka cried, just bought a $15 million crib. It's like, all right, let's relax a little bit. Like, we didn't need to know all that.
I saw the Mavericks fans bringing coffins out to the
Oh,
stadium. I
The
sent you
Mavericks
that,
coffin
Kevin.
was crazy,
The
yeah.
Mavericks coffin in full suits, carrying the
Yeah.
coffin on their shoulders.
The Blue Mavericks coffin was crazy. I mean, fans are protesting outside of the arena, or they were the past like day or two. It's crazy.
So
The
my,
way, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. So was your point about Luka and LeBron like pairing up? Is that it's gonna be a good thing? Like in other words, like this is gonna go well, and like is that what you're saying?
I mean, I wasn't really saying anything. I was just saying for the record, we have arguably the greatest player of all time playing with the up and coming next up for the GOAT debate, and they're just on the same team. It's almost like and it's not going to be for long. It's only going to be for like 1 or 2 seasons. I definitely don't think they're going to go out and win the chip, but
Well,
I mean, they don't need to right now. Like they just got their franchise player for the next decade.
yeah.
They don't have to win now. The priority is just build around Luka now. I think Reeves is going to end up getting traded. They don't need Austin Reeves anymore. Trade him for some front court depth. LeBron, like he's LeBron. I mean, he has a no trade clause, so he's definitely not getting traded. But I think the whole team is pretty much like on the block now, considering they just got a franchise
Well,
cornerstone.
The reason why I brought that up though was just because I like have heard a lot of people saying, is this because LeBron's going to retire a lot earlier than we expect? Like, was this move made in haste because father time came for LeBron faster than we all thought?
I'm seeing people say like, could this extend his career? Could he be like,
That's
hey, you know what? Maybe I
yeah,
have two more seasons. Maybe I have 2 or 3 more years.
that's what I was in the boat of. I think now that they have Luka, LeBron could just straight up be a 43-year-old role player, just a pass
Yeah,
first forward. Like,
exactly. And that's a pretty damn good pass first forward to have, if you ask me. But he said it in like a post game interview, like maybe a month ago, not even. He was like, "Shit, well, my body, I could play like 5 more years. Don't know if I'll do it. He might now. Look what y'all did.
hmm
You made this trade, and now we have to deal with him in another 5 years. Good job, league."
Imagine if the Lakers just extend, like they go into burner mode and build around Luka in the next 2 seasons, and we see LeBron get like 2 more chips. Just like playing with Luka Doncic, and he
Well,
ends up with 6 championships.
we
No
could
one saw it coming.
we could finally get a vintage Celtics Lakers rivalry again.
True.
I
True. That's actually
know that's what the
underrated.
league wants.
That's
I know that's what the
crazy.
league
That's
wants.
sick.
You guys,
Tatum.
you guys are so blind. You're so blind. How did you not see this?
I said true like out of just instinct, and then I was like, wait, true. Like I didn't even think
Yeah,
of that.
dude.
well,
That's crazy.
You guys are all part of the race.
Well,
It's just I'm so glad that we're doing like live like reactions to stuff because I really haven't seen anyone take that angle on it. Like all I've been seeing is that all Lakers lost, like Lakers I don't think Lakers came out on top, this and that.
Well,
Other than the fact that they got Luka, right? But in a win now situation, from what I've heard, people think that Mavericks
This
are in a
wasn't a
little bit
win
of better
now.
situation.
This was, I mean, short term, yes. This wasn't a win now move for the Lakers. This was we're gonna get our franchise guy, and we're gonna see what we could do at the deadline. Wait the rest of the season, build chemistry, and we're gonna start next season. Actually, we're gonna start in the off season. We're just gonna rebuild our team around Luka Doncic.
yeah, I mean, like they got their next Laker great. They don't have to worry about finding the next guy to wear a Lakers jersey that's going to have their number in the rafters and at the end of their career, like they're set. If he resigns, because with had he signed he was eligible for a supermax extension this upcoming offseason. If he stayed in Dallas, he was eligible for 345 million. Now it's like 220 million. That's 120 million difference we're talking about here.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the reasons why the Mavericks said they got, or Nico Harrison actually said that they wanted to get away from Luka Doncic was his contract and also his weight. But the contract thing I want to talk about is I don't understand where, because we saw this with Cat earlier in the season. They traded him to clear up cap space. And now the Mavericks are saying that they didn't want to extend Luka and pay him all that money. So with all these like big contracts coming out, is it ending up hurting these players because these teams are gonna like trade them away? Like, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I guess we could probably or we could potentially see teams kind of jump in this cost savings mode and just seeing if they can just build around their second best player. To be honest, I don't really know. Just seeing just what other pairings will work. I'm not sure. But another thing they mentioned is that they were kind of fed up with his antics on and off the court, with like how much he like complains with the referees, the weight obviously being a thing. Even though every year they talk about Luka being overweight and he still puts up the numbers that he does. It's just he's chunky. He's gonna go out there and ball. We see Jokic do it. Zion, you're not an exception.
That's what I was gonna say. The
same.
Pelicans didn't give up on Zion, but you're gonna give up on Luka Doncic.
Yeah, well, It's actually interesting you brought up that contract thing because remember I talked about if the Pelicans cut Zion before like July, they don't have to pay him like over like hundreds of millions of dollars. So
Yeah.
if that happens, then yes, we're gonna see teams be like, "Oh, you want this amount of money? Bye."
And the thing is though, too, I don't think that teams are gonna go in this direction. I don't even know if this is that situation because like they didn't I don't know. How do you not play a player that led you to the finals last year? That like this is I feel like this is very different than like teams not wanting to play, not wanting to pay, an absurd amount of money for their superstar who didn't do that. That's a different story. Does that make sense? Like the
Yeah.
Pelicans, like the Pelicans getting rid of Zion, for example, that would make sense. But getting rid of Luka to me just it breaks the brain.
It's just unwarranted. You don't give away Luka's a once in a lifetime talent, and you just traded him for 33, 32-year-old Anthony Davis, whatever his age
31.
is. 31. So going to be 32-year-old Anthony Davis. I just I mean, the Mavericks are potential. I mean, they're obviously contenders, but their whole future is gone. Kyrie's what, 34?
I think he's the same age as Davis. Clay is
Oh,
34, I'm pretty
really?
sure.
Okay. I th For some reason, yeah, Kyrie's definitely not that old. I'm tripping, but
Kyrie's like
like
32, I think.
Yeah, Kyrie's
they're just
32.
they're just on the backside of their primes. Their window of contention is really about 2 years, 3 years. I mean, they're gonna age, man. How do you do that?
I
I just,
I think three
I don't
years
even know what to say.
might be pushing it. It might be like 1 to 2 years. They're gonna
So
Like
see.
if
obviously
they
both
don't go
teams have a
this
different
year,
perspective. Like the Mavericks, like they're trying to win like right now. Like with the players they have and where they're at in their careers, they're looking to bring it home this season. Nico Harrison said he believes defense wins championships. So he traded the biggest hole on the court for an all NBA level talent, Anthony Davis. When you look at it from that perspective, you're like, I somewhat sort of not really see your logic, but sure. When it happened, we have to run with it. The
Mhm.
Lakers, they don't really have no worries. They don't need to win right now. They're not on LeBron's timeline anymore. For the first time in human history, a team is not focusing on like what can we do for LeBron right now. Obviously,
It's
it
true.
helps them, and they were thinking about that. But if they don't win this year or in the next 2, 3 years, when the Mavericks window closes, theirs is like just opening.
Mm. They could be the smartest franchise in NBA history, though, if this somehow works. Let's say they upset the Thunder in the playoffs, go back to the finals, take on either the Celtics or whoever you want to have up there, Celtics or Cavs, I would say. But imagine like, okay, what do we consider a success like for this team? What does it take to rationalize trading Luka? Is it a championship or is it a finals appearance?
It's a championship.
I think of it
That's
Yeah,
it.
as
big change.
It has to be a championship. You traded this guy. I'm not going to explain everything that Luka's done because I already did. You can rewind it if you want to hear me say it again. But it's a championship. This guy took you to the finals 6 months ago. Like the bar is there. That's where the bar is. Like you
Mhm.
have to get there. No, you don't have to get there. You have to win it because he took you there. If you can't even get there, let alone win it, it's a travesty.
See, I'm glad you brought up the like Thunder thing because I did hear something like a little bit of a theory that they were saying that the Mavericks felt that like they could beat the Thunder without Luka Doncic in those 2 games that they did it. So they wanted to buy all in on that. And they ended up getting AD, which helps them defensively. And then they got Max Christie too, for a good POA defender coming off the bench. But I do see the team like being good short term wise, but long term, dude, their future is gone. Like we've said. and
Hold on. They have a first round pick.
when
The
it
2029 first round pick.
yeah.
Hold your horses.
The
Just
the
kidding.
the way I saw someone phrase this trade is the Lakers got Luka in exchange for, or sorry, the Mavericks gave up Luka in exchange for a walking hospital bill and less first round picks than the Kings got for De'Aaron Fox. That was the breakdown that I got.
Well,
It's insane.
well, even if you like look at the other trades, like Gobert to the Timberwolves, Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Jared Vanderbilt, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first round picks and a pick swap. Bridges for the Knicks, you got 5 first round picks. Paul George to the Clippers, 5 first round picks. Imagine what you would have had to give up for Luka Doncic if they made this available for the whole league. If they told the league, hey, we're putting Luka on the trade block, they would have had to give up the coaching staff, the fans, freaking the GMs, everything to get Luka.
I think they kept it low simply because if word got out, his value would probably drop because his weight would get out. So teams would put the pressure on the Mavs. And on top of that, if word got out that he was going to be traded, he'd probably make a trade demand, which would limit the teams that he could go to anyway, would be the rationale. So I think that's why they just kept everything under the table. But I mean, I just think it's funny. I mean, we've heard the story. I'm sure everyone listening has heard the story that him and Palinka, Nico Harrison and Palinka went out for like coffee. And he like brought up, hey, what if we gave you Luka Doncic? And Palinka just like laughed. He was like, are you serious? And like he didn't even believe it. Like it's just I seriously I don't know where else to go. I have no words for this trade. It's
So
insane. Honestly, since we've been talking about it though, I'm starting to think that the Mavs are going back to the finals this year. I think they can upset the Thunder, especially with AD, because the whole thing with, oh, well, now they have Hartenstein and Chet. That's like their big difference. Well, now you have AD and Lively,
or Gafford.
and that, yeah, or Gafford. But I think that is just a good matchup. You have, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, or Max Christie can guard Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but you have some guys, some versatile defenders that could do some damage. I think I might take them. I got to see some games first, but I might take them in a Thunder series, just strictly based off matchups. I have to watch them play first. Don't come at me in the comments for that.
I mean, kind of what you were saying right there, like with the defensive matchups. I mean, to be honest, I might throw PJ on Shea. PJ was guarding Tatum and Brown in the finals. I'm not saying that he can hold up with Shea, but PJ's a big defender, a very
Mhm.
solid defender. Kyrie on J Dub, maybe, or freaking Cason Wallace. Who cares? I'm sure Kyrie should be able to hold Cason Wallace or Lou Dort. That's fine. Let them smack each other around in the corner. Who cares? But yeah, I mean, short term, meaning like this season and maybe like half of next season, the Mavericks won right now because the Lakers, they don't really have any bigs.
They
And
don't. They don't have bigs.
They don't
they
have
simply, I mean, they have what? Jackson Hayes.
They might have just revived Christian Wood's career, potentially.
Jackson Hayes, Kristen Wood. It's pretty, yeah, Jared Vanderbilt. You might have to suit up and start doing jump balls, brother.
Run
But
DFS at center, maybe.
DFS, true. But like as far as long term, yeah, Lakers are better off. But like right now, at this very moment, the Mavericks are a little bit better off than the Lakers are.
I agree with that
I
because
yeah.
defensively, man, they're gonna be scary to go up against. The
I
only
know. I mean,
problem that I see with the Mavericks is offensively, once Kyrie goes on that bench and AD, what are they gonna be able to do offensively? That's where it's gonna be a struggle for them, I see.
I don't know if any of you had seen like the info on this, but it had said that the talks had been happening for like almost a month. So it's been it like obviously this wasn't like a rash decision, but it also what from what I had read, apparently this started because LeBron James like had voiced LeBron and AD had both voiced concerns or not concerns but interest in wanting to acquire another big man. And that's what apparently got the ball rolling with just Rob Pelinka being out there talking to people, and that's probably how the conversation of "Hey, you want Luka?" happened, which is
I just can't believe the Mavs initiated this trade. But
Yeah.
going back to what you said, Victor, about the offense, I think Anthony Davis is a pretty I mean, I feel like it's not as bad. I don't feel like it's gonna fall off a cliff. I mean, obviously they don't have the greatest backup guards, but defensively, I think it's not really going to matter as much how well their offense runs because they're such a good all-around defensive team. So it's almost like if your offense is lacking, which it obviously will be with Kyrie out, you're going to have to go AD first option. But I mean, still those subs, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall, Max Christie now, like those guys can hold their own on defense. So I wouldn't say I'm as concerned as you are with their offense after Kyrie subs out.
Maybe I'll have to just see it. But I mean, we also know how good of a defensive coach Kid is too. So you're gonna be pretty
Yeah.
scary, man.
Yeah. I'm having AD, Lively, and Gafford like protecting the paint. Like that's pretty freaking nice. That's a sweet deal right there. I mean, AD is at his best. I feel like teams are better when he's playing the four. And he even said that too. He really wanted the Lakers to trade for another big because when he was playing the four and they had Dwight and JaVale switching it off at the five, the year that they won the finals, like they were pretty freaking good that year. He's playing his
Mhm.
natural position, and now he has like actual centers, Lively and Gafford, that he can like lean on. It's only his second year. Gafford is still a young guy. Like sweet deal, sweet deal. They're so interchangeable now.
I was gonna like run this scenario. I was having fun thinking about this, and I was like, imagine being a defender, right? Let's say you're like who's like a decent defender. Let's say you're Torrey Craig, all right? For the sake of the Bulls. You're Torrey Craig. Let me put you in this scenario. You're sitting on the block, you're guarding Klay Thompson, okay? There's a double down screen. The first person you have to get past, Derek Lively. The second person you have to get past, Anthony Davis. Who are you chasing? Klay Thompson. Like, bro, that sucks. Like, I feel like they're just elevating their offense to a whole new level with something just as simple as a two big down screen. Like, you're just AD's not even a bad passer. Like, you have the lob threat. I'm not going to say they're Jokic and Aaron Gordon, but I mean, damn near. You got AD and Lively slash Gafford in that dunker spot. If I think they could go to the finals, but let's be clear. To me, I know Kevin, you said a championship is a winning like that's what it's gonna take to rationalize trading Luka. I think if they go to the finals this year, it's rationalized because they came that close to winning another championship. And even if they don't, they went to the same place they did last year with Luka. Now, the window isn't as big, but giving them like that's after the trade deadline. So if they could somehow get their cards together and go to the finals with limited time together, especially because Kyrie and AD will inevitably probably deal with injuries. If they could somehow get it together and make it to the finals, I think it rationalizes it. Because then you have the backside of next season where they can play a full year together. So I think a finals appearance is enough. I don't think they have to win yet. But I think whoever they play in the East, they could give a game. Because you got Mobley and Allen, like the two big lineup. You can match their two bigs now. I mean, the Celtics are the Celtics, but clearly they've been struggling this season. Not too worried, but there's some concern there. I just think they're a good matchup all around. So I don't know, man. I don't know what you guys. I know Kevin, that's what you think, but Vic and Daniel, what do you think? Do you think they have to win or just make it for it to be rational? rationalized.
So I said it a little bit earlier, but I don't think I got it all the way out. Yeah, I think just making it to the finals after making a big switch like this would be perfectly rationalized. But after talking with you guys here, I'm gonna go as far as to say if they get pretty damn close, like obviously not. I don't know. Even if they don't make the finals, if they make a deep playoff run, I'll be impressed by the trade, and I'll be a little bit more bought into the fact that they made the right decision. Um, but my bar for them is, if not finals, right below finals.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a championship, but I think even finals would be just great for them just because I mean, you just pulled off one of the craziest asinine trades in NBA history, and you prove people that your idea was right and it could work, and you go to the finals. Hey, that looks good for you. I still don't think you're gonna get the Mavericks fans like on board with that just because I mean you lost your whole future for it, but we'll see. I think it's gonna have to be at least the finals run.
I mean, just imagine like this team, like all like the younger guys, like where they're at right now, with like a slightly younger Kyrie, slightly younger Clay, slightly younger AD. I mean, this team would be a dynasty by the Lord Jesus.
I was just trying to think, like,
It'd be sick.
this is like an old big three. This is what if this just turns into the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, Darren Williams like Nets. Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine, bro?
They're just terrible.
Oh my gosh. Or like the Kobe, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash Lakers.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was so funny.
Can you imagine? Dude, I think someone would actually like hurt like physically attack Nico Harrison. I'm not even
Yeah,
kidding.
he
I
would
think there
need
would
like
be
protection for the rest of his life.
bro would be in constant security
bro, better start applying to McDonald's, dude. If that happens,
or
I,
just
I,
wanted to make a statement.
would you say, Daniel?
um, I don't know. I think it's just interesting to me because I was gonna make a point, like a joke more over earlier. Because the first time that I heard about the trade, my first thought was it was supposed to be Kyrie. Because I was like, how could it not be Kyrie? How could the player from the Mavericks that went to the Lakers to pair up with LeBron not be Kyrie Irving? But but then I thought, oh, they basically just paired up two players that relied on two other people to lead them to a finals and in one case win. So like my point was, is Kyrie going to be the ghost of LeBron and AD be the ghost of Luka now that they're both paired up together? But I but the more that we talk about it and the more that we break this down, it might work. It might model that kind of Celtics ball where there are just a lot of good players on the same team and no one needs to stick out more than the other than anyone else, and it just works. You get a bunch of guys that are bought in and not necessarily trying to outdo each other, and it just leads you to success. So I'm getting a little bit more bought in that Mavericks could have made the right decision. We'll see.
It has to work.
It has to. It
It
does.
can't
Yeah.
might work. It has to work.
Yeah.
Nico Harrison said the other day too. He said, "Only time will tell if I was right." I was like, "Oh my god, you're playing my league in
Yeah.
real
Right.
life." He literally
Dude,
said that.
I
He
did see that.
has,
Yeah.
he had like this whole scenario. He just has such like a F it mentality.
Yeah.
Like screw it, why not? It might work. Only time will tell.
The thing that
Introduced the Thanos meme.
the thing that's funny about it too is like I don't know if you guys saw that Danny Ainge said that he had no idea he was helping the Lakers land Luka Doncic. And he said by the time he found out it was too late for him to do anything about it. Yeah, he thought he was just facilitated a transaction with collecting two second round picks with Hood Schifino and didn't know that Luka Doncic was a part of the deal or Anthony Davis. So he definitely would not have done that if he knew.
Yeah, they said I saw a report saying that he found out within like 30 minutes of it being like finalized and put out there. So there's nothing he could have done. Can you imagine his reaction? They got who?
He probably
They
tore
did
his house
what?
up.
Dude, Danny Ainge just somehow finds his way into every crazy trade.
Yeah.
He always has to be involved in like these scheme trades, bro. This is the first trade Danny Ainge hasn't won, to be honest. And technically, we don't know if he's lost yet. We don't know if he's lost yet. What if Jalen Hood-Schifino is an all-star? All right. What if those picks turn into like something crazy? What if those picks turn into someone better than Luka? You never
So
know.
it's funny you say that because Barstool IU posted yesterday, breaking news. Jalen Hood-Schifino traded in one of the most devastating trades in league history. He's going to the Jazz. Like they didn't mention like Luka or like AD. Like it was just so
Yeah.
funny. But speaking on trades, me and Miles talked about this last night. If there's one thing that's for certain right now, the Atlanta Hawks won the trade.
No. Oh, it
That's all I've been
hurts.
seeing. That's all I've been seeing on Twitter.
They won the trade after all these years. People saying
That's
it was
crazy.
even. People saying like, "Oh, crazy," because look at Luka and Trae Young is like not even an All Star. They won.
They won the trade.
They have won the trade. It is settled.
Luka might drop 100 next time they play the Mavericks, man.
Oh,
February
You're
dude.
so right.
25th. February 25th, Lakers, Mavericks are going to be playing on TNT. So if we're recording a
Man,
podcast that day, we're not anymore.
we might have to get playback on that.
We might see Luka drop an absolute historic stat line.
True. That's facts.
I'm actually so excited now to watch
Yeah.
Luka and LeBron.
Hopefully he's back from injury.
Can I
Yeah.
can I bring something across you guys? I don't know if you guys heard about this or read into it. I brought it up to Kevin a little bit, but it's from fadeawayworld.net. And this NBA insider said the Lakers should use Kyrie Irving as a Trojan horse to destroy the Mavericks so they can land Luka Doncic in the future. This was written before the Mavericks traded for Kyrie. And he was basically saying on the GOAT podcast, Ben Golliver suggested the Lakers should let the Mavericks land Kyrie as he will be a Trojan horse that destroys them from the inside. He said that the Mavs GM Nico Harrison, who was the vice president of American basketball operations at Nike, already lost Jalen Brunson last summer when he signed with the Knicks. And then Harrison would want to land Irving to make up for that mistake and would eventually lead to Luka Doncic leaving the franchise. He said, I have a better Lakers plan for how they should approach this Kyrie situation. He said, honestly, I think it's a much better plan. It's more devious. It's much more long-term focused. It's much more shrewd. Honestly, probably unrealistic, but this is what the Lakers should do. He basically just said to treat Kyrie Irving like a Trojan horse. They need him to do whatever and possibly do to talk up his value, their interest in him, and his ability to be a part of a championship core. They need to pull out of the clutch stops to build up Kyrie Irving as a dramatic franchise changing asset and get the Dallas Mavericks to bite. It's kind of crazy reading that.
With the intention of getting Kyrie back, or just like Kyrie's the Trojan horse, he gets them Luka and then that's it.
Yeah.
Huh. It almost sounds
I,
too unreal.
I mean, it's frauded because Luka didn't leave. Luka didn't
For
leave
sure.
because Kyrie was a ticking time bomb. Luka got traded without knowing.
Yeah.
So like, yes, it worked, but it's not like causation. It's correlated, but it's not like it's not causation, if that makes sense.
I just think it's very interesting and it's crazy.
I actually think Kyrie's been on his best behavior in Dallas.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone
He's been
enjoys
good.
playing with him, to be honest. That's hard for me to say.
It's a different
As-
Kyrie.
He's grown up now.
I was gonna say I saw that article and like it was like multi pages, and then the very next slide was just a close up of Jason Kidd's face, like deep fried. I thought it was funny.
That is funny. Um, I do want to tell a story, and I do have some friends who listen to this podcast that will be able to relate to this story. Um, I just want to share where I was when this happened. I was sitting in a hotel room, found myself sitting in a hotel room, and I got a call from, I was watching Forrest Gump on the hotel bed, and I got a call from a Mavs fan. Shout out my boy Neil. And he was just screaming on the phone.
Hmm.
He was just screaming. I didn't even know because the call didn't come from him. It came from someone else, but he was the one on the phone. I didn't even know who was talking. I've never heard this man scream like this in my life. He's a Mavericks fan. I couldn't even tell it was him. He just tells me Luka Doncic is a Laker. Bro is damn near sobbing on the phone. Bro, I can't even watch Forrest Gump ever again without thinking of this moment. Like, it is burned into my brain. Everything that I was doing in that moment. If I'm in a hotel room, I'm gonna be like, I was in a hotel room when Luka got traded. If I'm watching Forrest Gump, this is what I was watching when Luka Doncic got traded. I had to take a timeout, bro. I went out of the hotel room. I was laying in the hallway, needed a moment. Texted Kevin or texted the GMLB group chat. Hey, Luka's a Laker. Called Victor up. Victor was at the bar. Thought I was lying. Thought it was cap. Thought he got hacked. I was like, nah, bro, this is for real. And honestly, I just think wherever you were at that time, as people who follow the NBA, we're never going to forget those moments. This is a moment I'm never going to forget. Ever. So, I don't know, man. I don't know where that was going, but I just need to share that I will never forget this moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think this is similar to like when KD signed to the Golden State Warriors. Not maybe not on that level, but I do remember. I mean, yeah, it is kind of that level. I saw your reaction, Daniel. But what I'm trying to say is like I remember when KD signed with the Warriors. I remember exactly where I was at. It was 4th of July. I'm at my cousin's house. I was upset because I did not want to see KD go to the Warriors. So I'll forever remember that moment. This one too. It's just a crazy trade.
It is what it is. We have to live with it. It's going to play out the way that it's going to play out. Not to state the obvious here.
I just don't think there's much more we can add. We can't. I don't think it's possible to put into words how incredible this trade was. I don't even. I can't put it into words. I've said it like 5 times on this podcast, but
Yeah.
I don't know,
Once-
fellas.
The most what would the word unexpected, I think, move in sports history, maybe.
The only thing that could top this is if Luka gets there and just retires. It's the only thing that could top what has transpired this weekend.
Watch the Lakers like trade for Embiid
Oh
Thursday.
no, they gotta have something up their sleeve to finish this season out. I don't think they're going quietly into the night and rebuilding over the
Oh,
offseason.
no.
I feel like they're gonna try to make something work this season.
Hey, honestly, something might have happened while we're recording this episode.
Yeah, true.
You never know. Like, dude, the NBA has been crazy.
We
I
have till
hit-
Thursday.
Yeah.
I hit
Just-
refresh. Kevin Durant is now a Maverick.
It's just so funny, bro. Imagine you're like Austin Reeves and you're like, yeah. You're like, AD requested a center. He's like, let's go. He's like, I'm gonna be around in this franchise for a minute. I'm gonna be a cornerstone of this franchise. We're gonna get a center. They're putting pressure on the front office, and they're like, oh, okay, AD got traded. Who did he get traded for? And it's like, oh, it's like, oh, it's like, bro, he's like, wait,
Here I
like,
go.
he's like, oh man, this guy, like, bro, I bet Austin Reeves seeing that they just got Luka Doncic was like, oh man, it's like, I'm going to Portland, bro.
Have you
Getting
guys seen?
I'm going to Portland, bro. They're gonna get Rob Will or DeAndre Ayton. Like,
Dude, Aiden was
dude.
fire.
So, someone posted a picture of like I think it was like the different evolutions of the Pokemon, maybe Charizard, and it was
Oh, I
like the
saw
Lakers
this.
have officially completed the White Boy Pokemon transformation, and it was Austin Reeves, Connect, and then Luca.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like Charmander was Connect, and then Charizard was Luca. That's just so funny, bro.
The evolution has completed. Luca will now
Did
take his final form and win a championship with the LA Lakers.
JJ
did
Redick is the head coach too.
yeah, they were literally teammates. That's what's insane.
Yeah.
Like they quintupled the evolution. Quintupled.
Um,
I don't know.
One thing that's underrated, I don't know if you guys watched that post game conference. I know we're kind of going long on this Luca thing, but honestly, I think it deserves to be as long as we need it to be. But Jason Kidd has actually coached Anthony Davis before. He's very familiar with Anthony Davis's game. He was I believe, an assistant coach on the 2020 Lakers squad. So I think that's something that's a little bit overlooked in this situation because knowing how to use AD when a lot of teams don't, including the Lakers at times, the Pelicans at times. I think this is going to go a long way for them. It's better than like Doc Rivers getting Anthony Davis for sure. So, I mean, that's a straw man argument I just created. It's kind of hard to argue with Doc Rivers against anyone, but
Yeah.
I mean,
He'd
still,
ask
you
for
get what I'm saying.
he'd ask for
Like it's
instructions
Nick
to come on
Nurse.
AD.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, what are you gonna say, Kev?
I said I just threw like another coach out there. I put in Nick Nurse's name. Don't even know if that's a legitimate argument, but he's in good hands. Jake Kidd's a fire coach. Very calm-headed guy.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. It could be generational.
Do you think Clay goes to? No, I'm not even going to propose this. I
Go
think
ahead.
PJ Washington is the one that's going to go to the bench. I don't think they're going to put him at the three,
It
just because
should be Clay.
Clay's just so much more of a threat to spread the floor. Putting PJ out, it's just not the same. Like PJ is definitely a better player overall, but what Clay offers in his role is just stretching the floor, keeping the spacing is just worth a lot more.
I don't know.
Jesus, it's three. No,
Huh?
I'm.
What are you pondering about?
Just the fact that Clay
You
Clay
said
needed Steph to win a championship, Kyrie needed LeBron, and AD needed LeBron too. And it's just it might work. It might work, dude, putting a bunch of secondaries on the same team and letting them go at it. It might work. And I know AD is not a secondary and neither is Kyrie, but whatever.
I mean, AD has been the secondary up until like this season, so you're onto something with that, honestly. But is there? I don't know where else to go with this conversation. My mind is blown, fellas. Do we have anything else before I tell the story of what I need to tell a story about next?
Should we do our predictions at all?
Okay, I'm gonna say the Lakers are first round exits. I'm gonna say the Lakers are first round exits this year. With the roster right now, if they make moves, we'll have a different conversation. With the roster right now, just Luka is there, and I guess Maxi Kleba, who somehow hasn't been mentioned once.
Ah,
Their first round exits. The Mavs will go at minimum to the Western Conference Finals, I think.
kind of. I like that. I like that take. I'll have to agree with it if I'm being completely honest. I see Lakers being like a play-in team. First round exits, they can maybe crack the second round, which is Luka and LeBron just carrying, and then Mavericks got to go to the big one. Got to go to the finals.
Okay, Mavericks Finals. So this trade has shook up your Thunder prediction from earlier in the season.
I'm saying they have to go to the finals. I don't know if they will.
Oh,
Got to see them
where
play, but
where do you think they'll go though?
where do I think they'll go? I think they'll go to the Western Conference Finals, but they better go to the finals.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, oh, the Mavericks. think I think they're either going to the semifinals or the Western Conference Finals.
No finals appearance for you.
No finals appearance for me. But
I just yeah.
I I do think that they have a great chance, man.
Mhm.
I'm a bet the Thunder though. I'm a bet the Thunder.
Okay.
I'll put my
I
money on the Thunder.
was I was just gonna say like I mean I'm kind of in your same boat. I just like really want to see a Mavericks Thunder series. Like I have no
Yeah.
idea how that would go. I feel like it would be one of the greatest matchups in recent NBA
Yeah.
history though.
Yeah,
Like
this playoffs are gonna be insane. They're actually gonna be popcorn every day. Um, but as far as the Lakers, I think they're either gonna be like you said, first round exit, maybe not even making playoffs if they don't get a center.
whoa.
May-
Whoa.
If they don't
They
even
don't
get a
get a
That's
center,
center,
yeah.
great.
if they're a playing team, they could get a good chance of getting knocked out.
True. True. I guess it depends if Luka truly is struggling with
Well,
his weight to the point where he's 270 and his calf is still injured or his whatever it is. Is it his calf? I
it's
think it's
his
his calf.
calf, yeah.
Yeah.
Strain, yep.
Then yeah, they're in danger. We'll have to see what happens when he comes back. That's not a bad take though. If he comes back horrible and like recovering, then yeah, easily. Daniel.
All right. For the Mavericks, give me they're going to be in the big game, so they're going to make it to the finals. In that matchup, if they do go up against the Thunder, give me the experience of the B team all day. They're going to beat out the Thunder. As for the Lakers, I'm going to go with a little bit better than first round. I think they'll make it to the second round and then be out. Um, yeah, that's what I think. I have a lot of faith in this Luka and LeBron situation because I don't know if you guys had I don't know, just like from a systematic like chemistry point of view, I feel like they're gonna play well together. I think they're gonna like playing for the same team, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Luka comes back healthy, he's ready to go, and he plays like Luka Doncic that we know. Because he
Yeah.
hasn't been healthy this whole season and he started off rough as well. You can tell that injury has been lingering.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, he put the whole entirety of the playoffs last year. He was hurt. There was summer ball. He never got that proper rest, but we're just gonna have to see by the Lord Jesus.
All right, fellas. So last night I was watching the Celtics play the Sixers. It was like 118, 110, like 40 seconds. I'm like, all right, this is over. Was about to leave and like switch games. And then one of the commentators goes, and I'm sure you've heard by now the breaking trade. And I was like, oh, they're gonna just talk about Luka. And I was like, okay, I've heard Luka. The shock is pretty much gone at this point. And all I hear is De'Aaron Fox is officially a San Antonio Spur. This is like 40 seconds, game is over. And then they're like, and Zach LaVine is now on the Kings. And I was like, huh? I was like, wait, what? I was like, dude, just out of nowhere in this garbage time game, they just dropped that bomb on me. I have to run in, grab my phone, text the GMLB chat, see what's popping. I believe you guys beat me to the news. Um, but just insanity in the same weekend, in honestly the course of I don't know if it was quite within 24 hours, but it was right in that time area. But
It
I
was.
mean, dude, the entire Western Conference is just shaking. Like it's trembling with just all these new players just moving teams. So, fellas, what was your initial reaction to seeing De'Aaron Fox first join the Spurs, which we've talked about on this podcast? We'll talk about Zach LaVine in a little bit.
My initial reaction was hallelujah. I think getting rid of LaVine, I was finally happy the Bulls got something for him. I think it's gonna be awesome to see De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama. I mean, the Spurs are really buying into Wemby, trying to build around him, and you get a guy like De'Aaron Fox who's gonna be that second option with Wemby. It's dude, the future is just going to be insane with them.
I'm
That's what I
curious what
was.
the hell the starting lineup's going to look like. Because now you got Chris Paul, Fox, and Castle. Who starts?
I think I would say they move Vassell to the three and move Castle to the bench. So it'd be CP3, Fox, Vassell as an undersized three, and then you have Wemby and Harrison Barnes, I would think is what they'd go, and bring Sohan off the bench like they've been doing.
So Sohan
Or
and Castle and Champagny leading the bench.
I could see them also moving CP3 to the bench and just having Vassell, Castle, and De'Aaron Fox. Just because Chris Paul is like pretty old and he's come off the bench for some games, especially at the start of the season. So if they're really trying to get these players experience and actually make a playoff push, I think that would probably be the best course of
Yeah.
action to just get the young guys experience. But
I just looked up ESPN's projected starting lineup. It's Fox, Castle, Vassell, Barnes, and Wemby.
okay. Yeah, so they're gonna go with the latter. Interesting. Interesting. I wish Pop was here, man. I wish we could just see Pop like coach this team. Because Mitch Johnson, don't get me wrong, he's doing a great job, but I mean he's not Greg Popovich. So, oh man. Daniel, what did you think when you saw De'Aaron Fox join the Spurs?
Honestly, the first like sentence that came to mind was, "My God," or as Kevin said, by the Lord Jesus, this Wemby and the Spurs like are just making good decisions, and not so much Wemby, I guess, but the Spurs have just made repeatedly good decisions with like the minute restrictions on Wemby in his first year, with the moves that they've made, just everything, and it just seems like their future is in good hands. That's just the main thing that I keep thinking about. And as for what you said, I do like that idea of moving CP3 to the bench, just having him kind of um, improve that second unit, basically, because that's what they need. If Wemby is going to be exactly what we think he's going to be and what he already is, and lead that Spurs franchise to championships, then they're going to need, a deep roster. And I think CP3 should know his role and know what he can offer the Spurs right now in that respect. Get everyone ready for what's to come.
Saw something the other day. It's kind of crazy. At one time, the Spurs had Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Kyle Anderson. They like low-key had a squad, but like nobody knew. Or like they weren't themselves yet, but it's like, oh wow, what could have been? But I mean, yeah, Fox to the Spurs, we've kind of believe it was maybe like a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we all kind of gave our takes on it. I don't necessarily love it, but with the way everything's shaken up, I guess now's the time to make a move if you're gonna make one. Because now I'm like, all right, oh, Fox went to the Spurs. Wait, Luka went where? It's kind of hard for me to focus on some things, and this trade is just one of them. After what's happened,
Um, I was doing some thinking about this trade, and what do we have to do to get like Lowry Markkinen on the San Antonio Spurs and have a brand new big three? Because I think they'd be willing to give up Vassell
And
and
Castle.
no, they would not give up Castle.
You don't think so?
Castle's off the table. Castle's going to step right into Vassell's role. There's no way they give up Castle. I'm thinking Vassell. I would say they'd try to keep Keldon Johnson. I don't think the Jazz would want Keldon Johnson because they have like up and coming forwards, Isaiah Collier, for example. But I think you trade like Sohan, you give them Jeremy Sohan, you give them Vassell and maybe a pick, and you get Lowry Markkinen who will fit right into a win now a win now culture. And I don't have the contracts to like make sure that that works, but I'm just saying purely value wise, I think Vassell is a great trade piece that the Jazz would potentially be interested in because he fits their timeline as well as Sohan.
Well, I was hoping that Vassell was involved in if the Bulls were to like make that trade because I was refreshing the trade details like crazy. I couldn't wait to figure out that trade because I saw the Bulls finally got rid of LaVine, and I was hoping the Bulls somehow landed Vassell in that. Ended up not happening, but dude, Vassell, like you said, could make a great addition to any team. I don't know if the Jazz would want to do that and give up Lowry. I don't know. I have no idea what Danny Ainge's plan to do with the Jazz is if they're
I mean,
competing.
Lowry's just, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like, yeah, Lowry's young and everything, and I don't know if they're fully ready to move on from him yet. It seems like they're kind of in that limbo stage of like shopping him around, kind of deciding to keep him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Uh,
I
he's
just,
he's. I was gonna say he's 27. He'll be 28 in May. Jazz aren't doing too hot right now. Maybe could they squeeze in John Collins from the Spurs?
see, at that point,
Does it have to be Markkinen?
I was just thinking you get another forward, right? A versatile forward, like a 3 or a 4. Initially, I was thinking Brandon Ingram, who's on the market, but then I was like, well, we just saw Fox play with DeMar DeRozan, and we saw how much of a dumpster fire that was before the Doug Christie takeover. Doug Christie, by the way, has his work cut out for him. My man has a 6-course meal waiting for him to begin working on. He's got a lot of things to figure out over there, but um, I was thinking like just versatile forward who can fill in the gaps on both ends of the floor between Fox and Wemby, right? And I'm thinking if you're trying to actually contend now, you just traded for De'Aaron Fox. That's clearly a contend now move. You might as well go get Markkinen because I believe Markkinen is 27, like you said. How old is Fox? He's 27 too, right?
Yeah,
So
Fox is
Yeah, he's 27.
they'd fit right into that timeline together. And I think Markkinen is just like this random loose piece on the Jazz that they're like, it's almost like Jonathan Kuminga for the Warriors. It's like, yeah, you could offer for him, but we're never going to actually trade him. So
He's
he
just
just
gonna die
doesn't
here.
he doesn't fit with what they're doing. So it's like, then I was like, well, what about Colin Sexton? He's having such a great season and he's such a great shooter, but at the same time, he's a point guard. And I think for Fox to be effective, I think Fox needs the ball in his hands. And that's not saying Colin Sexton won't be able to play off ball, which he can, but it's just less effective than like Lowry Markkinen, you know? So I don't know, man. I think Lowry Markkinen is that type of positional player that you want to go get because it's been proven before. You need at least, and I'm not saying it has to be a super team because that wouldn't really be a super team. Lowry Markkinen, I don't qualify as a superstar, but you need those like you need a third guy, you know. You need a third guy. And I think Lowry Markkinen could be that guy. He's just on the line of like being really good, but also being like not in that tier to where I think he'd fit right in. And you could maybe pull off a trade for him.
This is when you go get Jalen Johnson or Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin is crazy.
Caleb Martin. Who else? Who else could they get? What are there for? Ben Simmons.
Bro, what are these proposals?
Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant would be kind of fire,
Jeremy
low
Grant.
key.
Now I'm taking it a little bit serious. Jimmy Butler.
No.
No.
No. Please, no.
Who else?
You
Pat
think
Williams.
Pop might actually be in serious physical danger if he has to coach Jimmy Butler. Like, not trying to make a joke, but like legitimately, like I don't think Jimmy Butler would be good for Pop's health if he came to the Spurs.
Scotty Barnes.
Okay, but he's not like they're not going
I'm
to
just
trade
thinking of
him.
Yeah, no one's untouchable. Though I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, they're not trading Scotty for like yeah, the reason I propose Markkinen is because it's someone who clearly doesn't fit on their team. Like Barnes is their future. Markkinen's not
No,
really the
yeah,
Jazz's future.
it makes sense. I mean, marketing like it's a Kaminga situation. He's just kind of there to die. We don't really know if you're part of a rebuild or if we're trying to win now, but we're happy to have you.
Yeah. Um, low key, like, what would it take to get Pat Williams on the Spurs?
I don't think much.
Take him.
I think
Well,
you low key.
the Bulls are desperate, man. Yeah, I mean, they said I think the only untouchable player is Matas Buzelis. They said
Wow.
so. I'm surprised they might be in talks with Patrick Williams and the Spurs. You never know.
I just don't know who's worth giving up for Pat Williams. Because, like, yeah,
Just
Sohan,
cash.
Pat Williams is a good fit for the Spurs, but Sohan's like still like better. Like, and you're not giving Vassell or Johnson. Maybe you just propose like Harrison Barnes and a pick for like Pat Williams. Oh, I don't
No,
know.
just a pick and some cash. That's fine. Like I don't want Harrison Barnes. I don't want Keldon Johnson. Just get some cash, a pick, second round. It could be 2035 second round pick. I don't give a shit. Just take Pat
Like,
Williams.
I could see Pat Williams being better than Harrison Barnes in like 3 years under Pop's coaching and development. So like maybe just trade down for a less good Harrison Barnes now, but have the trade make dividends. I'm just trying to put together a Spurs team that I think will actually contend. Not like contend, but actually be serious because I don't think Fox moves the needle to a point where they're gonna like make a deep playoff run. I still don't think they have enough. At least now,
No,
like
they
these
don't.
players just need experience.
Yeah, they're probably like 1 to 2 pieces away, and chemistry building and years together. Um, as far as like this season, where do you guys see them going though? Like, do you think they're a playing team making playoffs? Because I think right now they're currently sitting at here it is, 12th in the Western Conference, 21 and 25. So where do you guys think this takes them?
I think they're gonna be a playing team. They'll probably be a ninth seed, I'd say, depending on how well the experiment goes. Is it weird? I can't explain it, but I'm getting a vibe that like trading for De'Aaron Fox is like trading for DeJounte Murray. It's like, yeah, he's a guy, but he's not like moving the needle for you. He's just the kind of there, but you're still like kind of the same team. Is anyone else getting that vibe? I know it's kind of disrespectful to like compare De'Aaron Fox to DeJounte Murray,
But
but can you see where I'm coming from, or am I just tweaking on that?
I see where you're coming from. Like I don't think people should be so keen to be like, oh, Spurs are like you said, infinitely better now. Like I don't think De'Aaron Fox moved the needle that much. If anything, I think what he did bring is probably a little bit more of a sense of urgency to win soon. Because he hasn't even been playing, I think, the same level of basketball that he was like 1 or 2 years ago. So yeah, I would expect him to kind of come into the Spurs team and light a fire under their butt a little bit.
Who did the Bulls get? They got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Herter.
And their
Dude, I
first
mean,
round pick back.
you got you got De'Aaron Fox for essentially Zach Collins and Trey Jones. Like that's crazy.
I think the
That's
Kings,
crazy.
but the Kings ended up getting a lot of picks out of that
I mean, yes, but you're not really looking to draft. Like you have Wembanyama.
for
You're
sure.
clearly in win now mode, and especially with this move here. So it's just like, I mean, Zach Collins didn't play that much. Trey Jones definitely did not play that much just because he's behind guards. They're trying to develop more. So, I mean, honestly, I think Keldon Johnson is the guy you move instead of Vassell. Keldon Johnson is that guy on the roster that's just like weirdly on the bench, but averaging a lot of points. I know it's like he's down this year on most of his stats, but I'm trying to think of who you can bring in by offering Keldon Johnson as a piece and like maybe Vassell with him.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I don't see why there's a reason why like Vassell isn't off the table. You know what I mean? Like just go and see
mhm.
what you can get for him and see if you can maybe upgrade at that position. Hell, maybe even see if you can trade Chris Paul too at 38 years old. See what you can get for him.
Yeah, because I just don't think Harrison Barnes is the answer. Like in this, Harrison Barnes is like rolling on a flat tire at this point in his career.
He's riding on the rims.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
And yeah, just might as well shop. Now's the time. I mean, people are kind of losing their minds. So
Yeah. Let's talk Kings though. We get the reunion of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
They
What
were one
is
off.
what's the temperature check on this, fellas? How do you guys feel about this trade?
Kings have no point guard.
Or defense?
How in today's NBA do you not have a true point guard on your team? It's
It's a
kind of
good point.
absurd. Malik Monk or Keon Ellis are gonna have to start running that offense because okay, I mean the DeRozan and Levine duo, it clearly worked out terrifically in Chicago. So I guess we're gonna see a rerun of it in Sacramento. As far as seeing this from a Bulls fan's point of view, my point of view, um, yeah, I'm glad they made a trade. If they're gonna blow it up and trade our players like Zach LaVine, Voos, whoever, I'm glad they're doing it and acquiring younger players and not more so like older vets that don't really like move the needle at all. So they got some younger players. Are they going to be part of the future? Don't know. Don't really care. But at least now we kind of know like, all right, we're resetting slightly.
Mhm.
It's a step in the
It's
right direction for sure. Just because Zach Levine's trade value got diminished over the past couple seasons, and I'm glad we got something back. I was getting scared that he was going to be stuck at the franchise or at the deadline, and that the Bulls were going to have to let him walk in free agency, get nothing for him. So I'm glad that we got at least this pick back. I think this pick back was huge. This is going to be a draft that Cooper flags in. Maybe there's a chance the Bulls get it. Just got to cross our fingers, cross our toes. But
Yeah. So I think with this trade, the Chicago Bulls are officially playing capture the flag. I saw
hmm.
someone make that comment earlier and
hey,
I thought it was sick.
I
I mean,
like that.
You guys have Cooper Flag Light and Mace or Matas Buzelis.
Maybe,
Um,
maybe we could complete the Charizard meme with that, like Josh Giddey, Matas, Cooper Flag.
Cooper flag. Be
That would
sick.
be sick.
it's just like it's so weird. I wish you guys got like Keldon Johnson in this trade. Like you guys somehow got low key fleeced, but it's okay because you guys are trying to like just like destroy the team basically and tank, which is fine. So you in reality you didn't get fleeced, but you got like Trey Jones is nice, but you already have Kobe White, Lonzo Ball, Io DeSumo, like Josh Giddey. You guys already, if there's anything the Bulls have, it's a really good core of guards. So, and I'm a big fan of Trey Jones, but for Trey Jones, man, I'd be a little upset because you just got traded from a team who has, again, a great core of guards. You're struggling to find minutes to a team that has arguably a better core of guards. So
Uh,
it's just like, damn, bro, like you guys got a great talent, but he's going to struggle to find minutes, which sucks. I mean, you can even factor in like Torrey Craig in there. I don't know
no, Torrey
how much
Craig
you
just got
guys have
cut.
been. He got cut.
Yeah, him and Chris
They cut
Duarte.
him. Well, I knew Duarte sucks, but dang, Torrey Craig was solid like a year ago. I honestly missed that news, so my bad on that. But um, yeah, it sucks. And like, Zach Collins is he's Zach Collins. I mean, if you're trying to lose games, let's get a traditional center who can hit a
Hey,
three here and there, I
th
guess.
at least this finally starts the rebuild. This has
Yeah.
been long overdue. This is what we needed in Chicago. We didn't need any more mid old NBA players to come. I don't know why the Bulls were even interested in Bradley Beal. I'm so glad he waived that trade clause. I did not want him on the Bulls. I don't know what the GM of the Bulls was thinking. This finally starts the rebuild. I'm finally glad that we can see potentially maybe a future where we can have Matas Buzelis and some other great assets around him and Kobe White.
I'm not sold on Matas Buzelis, bro.
He
I'll
hasn't
be
played
honest.
much.
I am not sold on him. I don't know, man. I could be really wrong if he pans out, but I don't think he's gonna pan out, bro. I bring it up every time just to spite you guys, but we've seen that Chicago player development. Insert Lowry Markkinen, insert Wendell Carter Jr., insert etc. Once they leave, man, they're good. That's why I'm saying the Spurs need Pat Williams. Somehow he'll become a 19 point per game scorer on great efficiency once he leaves.
No, there's literally no convincing you could do to me. The best salesman in the world cannot convince me that Pat Williams is going to have a good turning out career. It's impossible. I say
I'm really
there's no way this dude becomes like a decent NBA player.
Yeah.
He's trash.
Ah, man, yeah, I might be tweaking with the fact that I see a lot of potential in him and none in other guys, but who knows?
I mean, it's the
None in
one thing I
De'Aaron
am mad about.
Fox.
The one thing I am mad about this trade is like, why didn't we just include Pat Williams?
I wish our fans like made memes so I could get a meme about having no faith in De'Aaron Fox, but having a lot of faith in Patrick Williams. It's like, yeah, Fox won't move the needle, but what about Pat Williams? Like, I wish someone could make a meme of that because looking back, what I just said is honestly like horrible.
Yeah,
But
we're trying to shove our hand up a fly's ass here.
that's great. That's great. The uncut, unprepared live action pod is just it's something, it's beauty in itself. Just oh
I,
man.
I love that meme, or I love the meme that I saw before recording this podcast of Speed at Royal Rumble, and he's like doing this at the crowd, and he's like shaking his hands, all excited, and he turns around and gets speared like right in the stomach. And someone said live reaction of DeMar DeRozan after freeing himself from LaVine just to get paired up a year later.
That's so funny. Man, I was gonna say, okay, staring this back to the Kings a little bit. I did want to make this point. I think the Kings are kind of I was talking to Kevin off camera about this, revitalizing their identity. The year Mike Brown won Coach of the Year, I believe that was 2022, not too long ago. The team was like number one in offense, had like a record-breaking offense that year. And I know the top offense every year breaks the record-breaking offense, but at that time they were one of those teams. And they took the Warriors to 7 games. And what was that team constructed of? It was constructed of all explosive offense and absolutely no defense. It was basically like the beam was essentially code for we're just gonna outscore you. Like that's what like the beam was that year. So I think now that you get rid of all of your defenders, like I mean, not saying Fox was a great defender. He was a good defender, but as we've talked on this pod, I think we all think, well, at least me and Kevin think he's a little overrated. It's just the steal numbers on ball defense. He's good, but a little overrated on that aspect. But now you have Zach LaVine, not a good defender. DeMar DeRozan, getting up there in age, not a good defender. Domantas Sabonis, bad defender. Malik Monk, bad defender. Like your only defense is Keegan Murray at this point.
Deion Ellis too.
Okay, yes, Keon Ellis, but Keon Ellis likely is playing bench minutes, and Keon Ellis is a great defender in his own right, but he's not going to carry a team offense or a team defense.
Eh, as soon
So,
as they started, as soon as they started starting him, they did rise up in defensive rating. Like I think they were top 10, top 8.
that's true. Um, I'm not saying that's wrong. I would like to look at the teams they were playing because that sounds like a like nitpick stat of just like situations, and they're like, oh yeah, it was Keon Ellis, but you could be right. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I haven't looked into it, but
Yeah.
their defense is all it's gone.
Yeah, no, for
It's
sure.
gone.
Now it's they're cooked.
They have absolutely no defense. Like I was saying, Keon Ellis might have to step in and play point guard for them. That Keon Ellis stat Victor just said, it reminded me of the stat when the Mavericks were playing the Clippers last year in the playoffs, and they said LA Clippers players 0 for 15 from three when guarded by Luka. And I was like, all right, well, let's look
Hold
at
on.
this a little bit.
Yeah, it's just one of those stats. I'm not saying it's wrong. I
I
haven't looked
wasn't
at it.
well, I wasn't saying it was all on Keon Ellis, but it happened after the firing and once he got inserted into the starting lineup for like whatever amount of games that it was at the time, they were like top 10 in defensive rating.
Yeah. Um, but it's just like, I mean, even their bench, like you got Doug McDermott, Trey Lyles, like, oh man, you got Devin Carter. He's not horrible. If you want to play Jay Crowder out there, you got Jay Crowder. Like, bro, what are we doing? This team literally can only play one side of the ball. It's insane.
Yeah, this team
They're just gonna,
sucks.
they're gonna go right back to being. I mean, at least the Bulls when they had LaVine and DeRozan had like Caruso, Lonzo, like they had some guys that could play defense at least. Like,
Oh yeah.
What if your theory holds up, Miles? What if Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan pair up and just become I don't even know.
like good.
Yeah,
First,
but yeah.
first of all, when did I say that? When did I make that
You said
theory?
you said Bulls players leave and then become better, which
Oh,
is not even a theory, it's almost a fact.
okay,
But
okay. Yeah, I did say that. This is a little different though, because this is like an actual good player. I'm saying like players who leave who are like not good, like they're like, damn,
yeah.
they just never panned out when they leave, always have like a revitalized career. Let me actually, besides Markkinen and Wendell Carter, I know there's more guys I'm thinking of here. Go ahead and keep going with this conversation while I look up these rosters to
I
find the
remember
players.
I remember we talked about it before. There was Derek Jones Jr. Was another
Oh,
one.
that is a good one. Oh, Campaign is on
Campaign.
that list. Campaign. When they literally said you'll never be an NBA player, and he went to the
Bobby
Suns and was like,
Portis,
Yes,
yeah.
Dan
Bobby Portis.
Gafford.
Oh yeah. If you want to include like LaMarcus Aldridge and Jamal Crawford in there, you can, but that's like a long time ago. I'd say Tyson
Ald-
Chandler. Tyson Chandler's a good one.
Aldridge never played for the Bulls, so
Good point. Yeah, he was traded on draft night.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Maybe just Crawford then.
we could throw Jay Crawford in there.
Um, but yeah, there's just it's always those young guys, man. As soon as they get traded, they just break out. Oh man.
Just
But
not an ideal situation for young NBA players.
Kings are gonna be horrible. They're gonna go back to the exact situation they were in before Mike Brown got fired, I think. They're just gonna be mid.
The 20-year drought is back.
That's funny. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, oh my gosh, the Bulls had Max Strus in 2018. That's
Yeah, they
crazy.
did.
Do you guys
Yep.
know that? I didn't know that.
I remember Strus.
I had
Denzel
no idea.
Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, of course, let's give you guys some credit. There have been some duds as well, like Denzel Valentine, Chandler Hutchinson, Chris Dunn come to mind. Chris Dunn's hooping now, but I will not give him the benefit of the doubt with the Bulls because it took him a while to get good before he was.
Yeah, he was on the Jazz.
Yeah, and like the Blazers and like 3 other teams as well. Like teams you wouldn't even remember him being on. But yeah, man, I mean, my prediction for the Kings, they're going to be mid-pack, probably a play-in team at best. Spurs will be the other play-in team probably until they get a third piece. And the Bulls may just be the worst team in the NBA pretty soon.
Capture the flag. Capture the flag.
Dude, imagine being Vucevic. He's like, it's like the guy sitting on the bench, the cook at the fast food restaurant, where he's just sitting there with his hands on
Popeye's worker.
after the chicken sandwich craze. It's just Vucevic after getting all these random players.
No, Voos is going to the Warriors or the Lakers by Thursday.
I don't even think Vuce would like help the Lakers. I don't think he's what they need.
They need somebody, damn it.
He'd definitely be a better fit on the Warriors, I think.
What if the Bulls traded him to the Lakers and then ended up getting Austin Reeves?
They get Luka.
That'd
Yeah.
be insane.
He's sick, dude.
If they did get Austin Reeves, that actually kind of sucks. He's too good to be on the Bulls.
True.
Like, that sucks for you guys, unless you flip him for picks, which, I mean, you might as well just flip Vuce for picks. I know the Lakers don't have picks, though. So, I mean, maybe that's what you do. Maybe you Vuce and something for Reeves. Get Reeves, flip him for picks.
Asking the Bulls to do that, it's too complicated for them. They don't even make trades. Like, I'll take this. I'm happy with this for now.
All right, fellas. Any final thoughts? This pod has been going on for kind of a long time. Not gonna lie. I got nothing. All right. I'm going to close us out here. GMLB family, we thank you for being here. As always, we're on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, Snapchat, and TikTok while TikTok is still up. Hopefully it's up for the foreseeable future. If you haven't already, we do have our second channel. This channel has officially been rebranded to Good Morning Let's Basketball Podcast. We do have another channel called Good Morning Let's Basketball, which is what this channel used to be. And on that channel, we're posting solo videos, NBA retrospectives, documentaries, current NBA videos, just things of that nature that aren't us talking on the podcast. So if you're interested, go check that out. We got a couple new videos on there, one about the Cavs, one about Dylan Brooks, which is a pretty interesting one. And yeah, with that being said, GMLB family, we thank you all for being here. And with that being said, we're out of here. Peace.